So, welcome back. And I just want to go through and talk about overworking. It's something that lots of student painters and beginner painters and all kinds of painters get confused about. So, this paper is Whatman. I think I might have talked about this before in my videos. It's £140. You can't get this paper anymore. It's like gold dust. I stopped manufacturing it about 15 years ago, I guess. I bought a huge amount of it. I got lucky when the company went bust and just moved on. I just bought loads. I love this paper, but it is like gold dust. Anyway, so I've got a little piece out here. Now, it's all about the quality of the paper. This is 100% cotton. It's rag. It's sized properly. So therefore, when you have a really good quality paper, overworking becomes less of a problem. Let's just start by wetting an area here. Let's just take it quite large. Okay, what happens is when we start to work on any kind of wash, or let's just grab some paint here. We're just going to drop that in and then let gravity do the work. So the gravity's going to do the work. Did you see how quickly I painted in there? I'm just touching gently. Why is that important, just to touch gently on your brush strokes? You've seen my videos before where I've just said, oh, I'm tickling the paper, I'm tickling the paper. It's really important just to tickle the paper. And the reason is this. If you're scrubbing away into a wash trying to get the right value, the value is whether it's light, dark, or in between, and so on, and you can't get the right value, the more you work on that this passage here, the more you're overworking. And because you're overworking, you'll start to bring up the fibres of the paper, especially if you rub in quite hard with your brush strokes. So the aim to paint really fresh watercolour is to get those washes in really, really fast. Okay? So let's just pop some in here. It's almost like painted in once. In some of my videos I talk about don't work on a certain area of a painting for more than a minute. And what I mean by that is not a tiny little square here of a minute. I tend to paint on 22 by 15 or 15 by 22, which is absolutely huge. It's half imperial size. And I won't work on an area for very long because of that problem. Just let the paper and the paint be your guide and do your own thing. That way you will avoid any kind of overworking. Let me just show you the way to overwork over here. So what can happen, you'll see the difference in the way that this wash will end up being. So I'm now in here, I've got a block, and that's okay. But what I'm doing now is I keep filling around. I might add more pigment. You can probably hear me brushing away. And the more I brush onto this, I go, oh, actually, no, that's not right. I need it a bit darker, or I haven't added enough water, so now I'm going to add more water. It's too light, it's too dark. I'm just going to mess around with it. And what happens is you start to get edges of paint, and it's just not even. What you're really looking for is an even wash. By even, we don't mean without granulation, because pigments like ultramarine, let's just pop some more in here, will granulate naturally. But I'm just touching that, and then that's just going to do its own thing. Granulate means that they're going to go into the tooth of the paper. Okay, you can see the difference, and that was only a small amount of overworking. You're kind of pushing it around to the edges. It's not clean and clear, and the more I do this, the more it's going to bring up the fibres of the paper, and you're going to end up with horrible, yucky results, really. Another way of overworking is to get colours that don't really go well together and just make like a horrible mud. Let's just take loads of colours here. This is one of the quickest ways to get a horrible overworked mud. We're just dotting around any old where, and then we're going to paint in there. You can see straight away I've got too many pigments, and this is not translucent at all. Here you've got a translucentness, here you've got a translucentness, if that's a word. Even though we overwork this, you can still see that it's quite translucent. But here you've got a very opaque passage. Now that's okay if you want opaque and that colour was correct. But most watercolour artists choose their watercolour medium because they want transparency. Okay, so we're just going to touch in here gently. Just go through. This tries is quite a stain and pigment, this cad red. And we'll just let it do its own thing and just let it wash down. That's it. Don't fiddle around, just in there for a few seconds. We've got our shape, if that's what we were looking for. And that's it, done, job done. Leave it to do its own thing. Then when the wash is dry, we can go back into it and perhaps work on it a bit more. So, hopefully you got the idea. Let's just try out another hue. And then just leave it. So hopefully you got lots from that. Don't keep overworking in one place like we've done here. Just don't do that. Get it in, the wash in as fast as you possibly can, and then get out of there. Is basically it. Don't mix up too many paints. If you mix up too many paints into one mixture, you're gonna get a mud, and that can look overworked because it loses its transparency. Okay, so happy painting. Remember to subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Take care now.